Okay, articles. Choosing a periodical. Go for the periodicals that are at the top, as I've already said, and go for the ones that represent what you do, and read their style guide carefully. Nothing so irritates an editor as getting a submission that violates all the rules of the style guide, is twice as long as the permitted length, and is, for example, single-spaced, right? Do what the instructions tell you and use the citation style. It's also a way of not annoying readers, and the last people you want to annoy are the readers. Editors in the top journals are much more likely to give you their reading of the readers, and that means you have a really highly informed guide to getting the thing accepted. So I would write sometimes, I once wrote an 11-page single-spaced letter to an author, right? But I would routinely write 2 or 3 pages explaining how I was ranking the different readers and how I would decide among the balance, because readers sometimes contradict each other. And you want to know, okay, now what do? I've got readers giving me totally mutually opposed opinions. How do I deal with this? Very simple. You decide which one got it right, and you provide very good reasons for following that reader, not by arguing with the other reader in print, not by explaining everything in a cover letter to the editor, but just by making your arguments as crystal clear as you can. So treat readers' reports as something that really is very helpful. And I can tell you that it was working with journals like American Ethnologist that really allowed me to create a career for myself, because the kind of feedback I got back from readers was extraordinarily helpful. So the review process. So you've sent it out to a number of people, you've got some responses, these have helped you to see where your argument was clear, where it needed fixing, and so on. Do the revisions in a fixed time. Do not try to achieve the perfect article. Perfectionism is a form of arrogance, because it means you think you can do something perfect. Even I don't think I can do something perfect. I do my best, but that's not going to be perfect. I send it out, and I take it on the chin when it comes back, because that actually will help me to make it better. I think I do good work. You all do good work. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. But just get it out there. So, you've got your comments back, and you are a bit sick of writing the dissertation, say, okay, I'm going to take 10 days to write this article. It shouldn't take you longer at that point, with the revisions, right? So you work through the revisions, and at the end of that time, even if you're not completely satisfied, you send it off to the journal. Then you get the response. Dear Mr. or Ms. Blug, sometimes we'll call you doctor because they don't know what you are. You might even call you professor. Your article, I regret to tell you that your article number so-and-so, title such and such, is not accepted for publication in American Ethnologist. Now, this is how to read these letters. If the next sentence is, I would nevertheless encourage you to revise and resubmit this article because I believe that it could become an excellent contribution, that is a very encouraging sign. If, the other extreme, the writer says, it seems to me that it would be much more appropriate for you to submit to another journal, and here are a couple of possibilities that are being suggested. That is the polite equivalent of never darken our doors again. Those are very rare. You're not likely to get that. You are quite likely to get simply, I regret to tell you it is not accepted, period. And then the next paragraph begins, let us look at the reader's reports, reader 1, blah, 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 blah. Okay? In that situation, don't be discouraged. The ferocious numbers they publish, 10% acceptance rate. Don't forget that the rejection rate includes all the people who have been rejected once or maybe even twice, but finally got their piece accepted. If your article has been submitted 3 times and it's been rejected twice before it was accepted, that's 1 acceptance and 2 rejections. So you can see what that does to the statistics. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And there's a perfect illustration. That's why anthropologists don't do that sort of stuff. But anyway, this is important to know, because otherwise you could get easily discouraged. They only publish 10% of what they get. They only publish 6%. Well, yes, in theory, but in reality, it's more like 30%, 40%. So, of authors. If they said of authors, the number would look very different. And you're all capable of writing for the best journals. Don't be terrified if you're not a native speaker of English. Most non-native speakers of English seem to write better than native speakers of English these days. I tell you that from experience. Most of my best dissertation writers have been non-native speakers of English language. Don't be put off by that. If there are occasional minor grammatical glitches, journals have copy editors for that purpose. They won't let it right. They even occasionally catch people like me, so you always want to have a good copy editor. But that's a different stage again. So, you've gone through the reader's reports, you've gone through the editor's letter, you think, about 80% of this makes a lot of sense to me. You set yourself another time limit, another maybe 3 weeks, you rework the article, and you send it again. That's all there is to it. And until you're actually told, this isn't really suitable for us, keep going. I actually once had an article come in 4 times before I accepted it. So, you know, and actually that happens, in some ways, the more interesting the article is, the more likely that is to happen, because if you've got something really new to say, finding the right way to get the idea across isn't that easy. But that's why the readers and the editor are there to help you. So instead of treating this as adversarial, treat it like an enormous set of advisors being placed at your disposal. Right? And if somebody is nasty, you can point it out to the editor, but the editor won't probably have realized it. I think in my 4 years as editor of AE, I saw 3 really gratuitously nasty reports, and I probably read something close to 800 reports. We got about 200 manuscript submissions a year, so there you have it. So you just take advantage, and of course you will thank the anonymous reviewers in your final acknowledgement footnote. You might find out who they are. I often would write back to an editor and say, would you find out, please, if the reviewers would be willing to be identified, because if they all are willing, I would prefer to mention them by name. People are actually very grateful for that kind of thing. So there's not a little trick for making friends and influencing people.